Hey guys, let's talk about how two OPD police officers just recently got shot. And was it due to the lack of law enforcement by the top prosecutor in Orange County? Come back and let's find out. Where are we?
We are at John's Hero Bar.
All right. Yes, we've changed locations. We're at John's place. As you can see, he's quite a heavy drinker. But he did.
Well, when you check back next time, almost all this stuff is still going to be right there, exactly where it is. I don't drink much of that.
So I asked John, I said, I know we're moving to your abode. You got to make me your world famous Whiskey Ricky, what's in it, John?
It is a 1 3/4 ounces, or you got 2 ounces, of Bird Dog Black Cherry Whiskey, 3/4 ounces of lime juice, and topped off with club soda.
It's really good. I'll give it a 8 out of 10. Yeah, that's a good drink. Yeah.
You know, I mean, all I got to say is
it's a little too sweet to drink a lot of them.
Right,
yeah.
right. But I've tried other black cherries, not nearly as good. But anyway, moving on.
All right, moving on. So we're going to talk about fallen officers. We're going to it falls right into our topic today. As of right now, 73 officers have fallen in the line of duty in the United States. Various means, gunshots, traffic accidents, and the work. So here's to all the fallen officers.
Cheers. Salute.
Salute.
Cheers.
Rest
Salute.
in peace.
But I got the cheers in first. So, sorry.
All right, John, what are we drinking?
Okay, we're going to drink. Again, this is from my nephew's brewery. Well, he works at this brewery, craft brewery. Sigmeister Zenith. It is a Sundial Series fruited sour ale.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sours, but this is not bad because it doesn't make me pucker as much as some
you can
sours.
definitely taste the sour, but it's not sucking on a lemon sour.
Right.
Or, but you can taste the grapefruit.
Yeah.
It comes through, but if you like sours,
All right, what do you give it, John?
I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it a 7, 6.5, 7. Yeah.
I'll give it a 6.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
So
before we get in, one last thing. John and I are still competing for who wears it better. I got my Sam Elliott mustache going on.
I got my Raleigh Fingers mustache.
Yep. So vote.
Handlebars going.
Vote in the comments down below. I think as of right now we're probably tied.
We're pretty close.
Yeah. So vote, and while you're doing that, like, subscribe, give us some topic ideas, tell us what you think, and just say hi.
So
All right.
let's get to the topic.
Yeah, so last Friday, two police officers, OPD police officers, because we're in Central
Orlando
Florida.
PD,
Yes,
just so everyone
you're right.
knows.
Yep. Orlando police officers conducted a traffic stop on an individual who was wanted out of Miami, unbeknownst to them until it was too late. He had a murder warrant, and he ended up shooting both of them. They lived, but they were in critical condition. I think they're still in the hospital.
One of them just got released, I think, a day or two ago.
Okay.
But the other officer should be fine.
Okay, good.
They have not released the names due to Marcy's Law.
Yeah, see, I heard that the other day, and I didn't hear what that is. What is that?
Marcy's Law is where a victim of a crime has the right to protect their own identity. So
Okay, I was thinking it was something specific to law enforcement.
it's not law
shootings.
enforcement.
Okay.
It's all, a victim of a crime has the right to protect their personal information.
Okay, all right, okay. So let's talk about this scumbag. Is that
Let's
right?
not mention his name, though.
Yeah, let's talk about this scumbag who shot and almost killed these police officers. Back in 2020, he went onto a construction site and committed an aggravated assault, a burglary, a whole bunch of other things.
Are those felonies?
Some of them are, and then there was some aggravated assault is a felony.
Burglary is a felony.
Burglary is a felony. Burglary to a construction site is a felony. So yes, he was a felon.
Okay.
And this was in Central Florida, Orange County, and in Florida we have circuits where you would have an Orange County and
Osceola.
Osceola County as the ninth.
Ninth Circuit. Yeah.
Ninth Circuit, and for that circuit, there's a state attorney's office. Some states have district attorneys, but in Florida we have
Or prosecutors. They have
right.
different names for the representative of the state.
Yeah, and it's an elected official who has to run for the office, and they run for the office, and their job is to prosecute crimes that are forwarded to their office, misdemeanors, felonies, and to prosecute the crime, not to comment on the justice system, not to complain about disparity in the justice system. Their job is to prosecute crimes and charge cases that are forwarded to the state attorney's office.
Well, the important thing, I think one of the things we have to remember we're looking at, though, is a state attorney is supposed to look at a crime that's presented to them, and then they're only supposed to move forward with a case that is likely to succeed at prosecution.
Correct.
That's their oath.
Right.
It's not, I'm going to put my own personal opinion into this case. It's, will this case likely succeed in prosecution?
And when they take office, they raise their right hand, just like all of us did. And you swear that you will abide by the law and you'll uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state of Florida and all that. And that's what the prosecutor is supposed to do. Good point, John. So let's talk about this scumbag. He was put on probation, okay? And while he's on probation, he approached a teenage girl,
14 years old.
14 years old, picks her up, takes him back to his residence, and commits sexual battery on her.
Is that a capital felony?
No, 12.
12, okay.
12
okay.
is capital, but it's still a life felony, probably.
I believe it's a life felony.
So he does this. He drops her back off at school, and he goes about his business. He gets arrested for that, and he's allowed to bond out, even though he's on probation for this previous felony. He bonds out.
And he's a previously convicted felon.
Yes, he is a convicted felon. Not just some schlub who didn't have a
Not one
a
guy
trial or
who
anything.
made a mistake.
No,
One day.
He is a convicted felon. He picks up a 14-year-old, commits sexual battery, and whilst on probation, he does this, and the state attorney in Orange County lets him allowed to have bond. Right? Yeah, not a no bond status. No, not a we're going to keep your stinky ass in jail.
But at least in Florida, it was a cash bond.
Right. Yes, 125,000, 10% of that. So so he leaves. He cuts off his ankle monitor, and he let's see. He goes down. So he's detected by UCF police officers. There's a scuffle. They try to taser him. It doesn't work out. And then he comes around and takes off in the car, and he disappears. He goes down to Miami, and he puts a ski mask on, tries to rob a guy. The guy runs off, and he shoots him, kills them, and they put a murder warrant out for this guy.
This is why he's out on bond.
While he's out on bond, for sexual battery of a child. So last Friday, police officers.
Hold right there, because the state attorney, according to her statement that she made to the news, that it is law enforcement's duty to notify her office of special circumstance in which or where a bond would not be issued, or there needs to be raised, or whatever the special conditions were, and she was never notified by law enforcement of these special circumstances.
So sexual battery of a child is not a special circumstance?
I'm just telling you what she said. I'm not agreeing. I'm just telling you what she said.
If that's not a special circumstance, what the hell is?
And I don't know, because years ago, about probably 15 years ago, the Xbox murders.
Yes.
Okay, I know in Seminole County, everything changed because of the Xbox murders, because Victorino, Troy Victorino, the suspect in that, was out on bond when he committed. He then led, him and 3 other people ended up committing 6 heinous murders and
with baseball bat.
okay.
Baseball bats. Yeah.
So anyway, in our circuit, they said we have to make a separate arrest, a totally different arrest report to be included with the charging affidavit
for
the judge.
DOP.
Okay, for a violation of probation.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm fairly certain that became the standard in most of Florida.
Probably. That was
So she was more than likely notified. I'm sure she was aware. And just like the judge in the Victorino case, who let him out on bond when he was already out on bond and on probation.
Right.
The judge is like, well, nobody told me. So now it's like, okay, we're going to change it. You have to be told.
Now, let me ask you
then
this.
she said that the Office of Corrections, Department of Corrections, never advised her office that the subject was on probation when the bond was given. Well, here's my question to that.
It's the state attorney office that puts him on probation.
Well, I understand that, but if he was on probation or if he had violated probation or whatever, it's up to the probation office to notify law enforcement that they're in violation and they're going to violate them or whatever it is. But law enforcement notifies probation, parole, hey, we picked this guy up, he's on probation, we're going to violate him. They come down, they violate him, whatever.
Yeah.
Something in here did not happen when he was arrested again.
Right.
Something didn't happen to where that automatically happened, the violation of the probation and the no bond for the violation. So something didn't happen. I'm not saying that's her fault, it's not her fault, whatever. I'm just saying there's something in here that didn't happen.
If what she's saying is true.
Correct.
Right.
Totally if it's true.
Which I
But there's
highly
no
doubt.
bond. If you violate probation and you're on a violation of probation until you go back to the judge in reference to that violation, there is no bond.
In our circuit.
But let me ask you.
In our circuit, well, that's state of Florida. I'm
Let me
pretty
ask you
sure,
this.
but-
So, you arrest somebody. You look at their criminal history, and he's a convicted felon. He's on probation. Do you not just automatically put zero bond in the can you put zero bond in the arrest affidavit?
On the second charging affidavit, the second arrest report for violation of probation, that's zero bond. We have to put in the bond for the actual charge that they had.
Original arrest, yes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
But we give them a separate arrest report for violation of probation with no bond.
All right, and we don't know if that's the policy in Orange and
I do not know that.
Okay, so he
I'm not letting her off the hook at all.
No,
I'm
no,
just
we'll talk
saying
to her.
There are various
How about her?
there are various agencies involved in this entire thing, not just her agency, but her record. And I know you're going to speak about it.
Right.
Her record speaks for itself and
Yeah.
how she has done.
this is
other
not just a one-off. This is
things.
not just a one-off.
But
Absolutely.
the other thing you have to remember is the state attorneys have access to all of this information as
Yes.
well.
all of the records.
So it's not like, well, the police didn't tell us. Well, you could have found it out yourself the same way the cops did.
And it's a $125,000 bond. That takes time to come up with.
Right.
It's not like he got in and bonded right out.
Right, because I'm guessing, I mean,
10%. What's that? 12.5.
12.5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
$12,500.
12.5.
Yeah, someone put up-
and collateral for the rest.
Right.
yeah, someone put up a house or
Did.
something like
They
that.
had to have. Yeah.
That's not happening quickly.
Right.
No.
No. So, two OPD officers encountered this guy. He shot them and then took off for a hotel in Orlando. The SWAT team does what SWAT teams do best, and he ended up
Neutralize the threat.
yeah, there you go. He shot at them and they TCB. They took care of business, and they pushed his off button. Let's go with that.
All right.
So yeah, he's no longer here. And what? 4 days ago, earlier this week, the Governor DeSantis, decided that enough is enough with this prosecutor. And as the governor's power,
In the state of Florida.
In the state of
Not
Florida.
every state has the same power.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, like different states have different ways that things can happen.
They have to like impeach him and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's just certain powers have been delegated to the governor for this power, or
Right. Yeah.
and
So let me
it's in
just
a
say
different
this.
way.
I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's a political move. It's because it's political season. DeSantis is running for office, and that's why he did this. And this state attorney was a Democrat, and he's trying to get a Republican in there, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. And here's why I say bullshit. He did this to another prosecutor in the same district that wasn't doing her job either.
Well, you know what? I was reading that.
And it wasn't a political season.
I think that was Rick Scott that did that.
No,
Ayala? You're talking about
Yeah.
Artemis Ayala?
Yeah.
I think that was Rick Scott who took away all capital cases, because that was another case where an OPD officer was shot.
And
Kevin
murdered.
Valencia,
Yeah,
murdered.
but I thought DeSantis removed her from
Now,
office.
I know DeSantis.
No, she opted not to run.
Well, that's right. Okay.
I
So
know
anyway,
this-
back to my point.
Sorry.
If I am sure, because DeSantis is 100% pro law enforcement.
Yes, absolutely.
Backs law enforcement to the hilt, and yes, I'm sure that when this case come up and he got an alert on his phone or whatever, hey, 2 OPD cops were shot, you know, and he probably said, I want to know everything that's going on, keep me apprised, what's happening, who is this guy? And when he got all the information, he had his people dig and find all this background on her and said, what in the hell is going on down there in
absolutely.
Orange County? So he wasn't just sitting back waiting for her to screw up.
No.
He's got way more important shit to do, and I've already heard that from people.
Yeah.
Oh, he was just waiting for her to screw up so he could pull her out of office. Bullshit.
But this, like you were saying earlier, this isn't his first time, because didn't he?
It was
suspended
either Hillsborough, Tampa, wherever that is. It's,
I know he did something to some other prosecutor.
At the shooting in West Palm Beach, the Palm Beach sheriff.
okay, yeah, yes.
Israel.
Yeah.
he removed him.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay, I'm
removed
sorry.
Sheriff
But
Israel.
He did.
That's what it
he
was.
removed another state prosecutor in the Tampa area. I'm not
Okay.
sure if it was Hillsborough or Pinellas County.
I'm thinking
it's
about
one of
that
those
one, the
two.
sheriff, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
one of
so
those
this-
two. He removed them because he came out and said a law that was recently passed. This prosecutor said, we will not prosecute any crimes passed by the legislature on this. You know, we're not going to prosecute those crimes.
Right.
And the governor said,
Yes, you will.
your job is to
Prosecute
the crimes that have been passed by the legislature. It's not, you don't have the choice. How would you like it if a police officer showed up at your complaint, you know, this guy just pointed a gun at me, said, well, I don't think that's really a big deal. I'm just going to leave.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything about
Not
it.
acceptable.
Well, but wait, the prosecutor can do that.
Right. No.
Wait, well, I mean, yes, there is officer discretion and there is prosecutorial discretion, but really, you're going to say, well, I just don't think this crime is appropriate to charge.
Right.
Now, when you're talking about certain minor offenses, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And like I was going to say earlier, we've all had cases that we thought were great cases that were picked up by the prosecutor.
And another,
we get that. That's part of the business.
And here's something I want to point out, though, because, you know, all of this no bond, you know, no cash bond, all that stuff that's becoming popular. They try and say that it's because the laws are archaic.
Right.
Okay? The state of Florida, okay, probably about 15 years ago, when smartphones became a thing, they recognized that the only laws that applied to the crime of sexting, which we all know is kids sending nude pictures to each other and then it ends up going viral and all that stuff, okay, the only was child pornography laws.
Right.
and they said, hey, wait a minute, we've got to change it.
Right. Laws are changed throughout history.
Okay.
Changed, added, removed.
5 or
things
6
like
years
that.
ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 or 6, they changed the laws for grand theft because they didn't want kids being charged with felonies for stealing a cell phone.
Yeah, well, they moved it from $350 to $750.
Right.
So you
The
change
price of the cell
times.
phone. So they adapted for the times.
So, and to add on to that, this wasn't the first issue with this prosecutor. I read the statement. The governor suspended State Attorney Monique Worrell, and there was 6 reasons. First reason, avoiding minimum mandatory sentencing for gun crimes, just not doing it. Avoiding minimum mandatory sentence for drug trafficking offenses. Allowing juvenile offenders to avoid serious charges and incarceration. Avoiding valid and applicable sentence enhancements. Limiting charges for child pornography. Seeking withholding of adjudication in situations not permitted by state law. So it's not like this is just a one-time thing. Oh, he jumps on her, I'm going to get rid of her.
Yeah, for this incident.
Right. And 40% of all of these cases that came to her office were not filed. I mean, that's really high. Just a couple of examples of instances in here. 2018, a juvenile goes into a 17-year-old goes into a robs does a home invasion. Sorry, at gunpoint, multiple counts of armed burglary, firearms, all of this stuff. These charges carried a 10-year minimum mandatory, and he got 51 weeks in jail. Didn't charge a 17-year-old who was arrested on several counts of gun crimes, and then he murders his pregnant girlfriend.
But we need to change all gun laws.
Yeah. And then this guy who was on probation, and then the sexual battery and everything. So
who did you replace him with?
it was a local judge.
Local judge.
Yeah.
His name was Andrew Bain.
Okay.
Okay, and Andrew Bain sent out a memo to the whole staff with 2 immediate matters. First one, he immediately rescinds the catch and release.
Right.
Okay, so if people are charged with a crime, you will at least file charges.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, suspended all state attorney created diversion policies other than pretrial diversion through state or county provision or probation.
Okay.
Okay, because the state attorneys, they have a lot of power.
Right.
One of the probably the most important elected official to affect your quality of life is a state attorney.
Absolutely. You can destroy a community or have an awesome community.
So they can create these pretrial diversions, drug courts, this type of court, this type of thing. Right, where
you have your one-time offender screwed up, a juvenile.
Right.
Those are good diversion programs. But you have somebody who's arrested numerous times, multiple heavy felonies. No, I'm sorry, you're going to jail. You're going to prison for a long time.
Right.
10, 20 life.
Right.
And I talk to my students because California and probably some other states have 3 strikes you're out, but it's 3 convictions.
Right.
And I say, okay, raise your hand in here if it's difficult for you to not to commit a felony. Right? I mean, it's not difficult not to commit a felony. Anyway, so Governor DeSantis, let us know what you think about his decision, whether you like it or not. We may care or we may not.
Well, we do care, especially if the governor actually responds.
Right, yeah. Governor, respond to us. We got your back. And vote for me for best mustache. And like I said, like and subscribe. Tell us what you think.
I'm looking at the camera.
And spread the word that we are an awesome podcast and we talk about cool stuff like this. You guys have anything else?
So if this is your first time watching, this is John and this is Camille on the end. So if you like John's mustache, Write in the comments John's mustache or John. I vote for John. And if you like Camille's,
Right, I vote for John.
vote for Camille.
Right.
I
And
like Camille.
we have a cigar bet on it, and we're going through what, September 1st or October? What did we say? September 1st.
September 1st.
Yeah.
And spelling is important.
It is
You
not
must spell
important.
his name correctly.
It is not important.
Negative. C-A-M-I-E-L.
But it doesn't matter if you don't spell it correctly. It doesn't count as a vote for him.
Yes, it does.
All right, guys. Anything else? We good?
No.
We are good.
All right, and always remember. Jeez.
At surviving the
Your
badge.
We still got your 6.
Salute.